be on your show today.
So tell folks why you'd make a better member of Congress from Oregon's Congressional District 5.
Well, I have a tremendous background, Lars, and that I've been in Oregon for 35 years. I've worked, virtually all over the United States, worked in Canada, worked in Mexico, worked in Germany, and I have a tremendous background that will lead itself to bringing jobs into Oregon. And I'm a timber guy. I've been in the timber industry for 25 years, and that's what historically our number one business is here in Oregon, and we need to get back to that. So we need a strong voice to go back to Washington, D.C. and say, look, that timberland belongs to the people of Oregon. Let's get it back in their hands. I'd like to see the federal government completely out of Oregon as far as owning 60% of our timberland, put that in the hands of our communities and our counties, and get back to putting people back to work.
I love the way you're talking, Fred. Now, remind people of the website that you've got.
It's Fred Thompson with the number 4 Congress.com, and on Facebook it's Fred Thompson Salem. Go to that. That's pretty active. I've got over 4,000 Facebook friends, and I post things on there 2 or 3 times a day and communicate with people, and then they can always call my cell phone. That's the only number that I have there.
I'm going to advise you, don't put your cell phone number out on the radio, especially since about a third of the audience are, Obama fans who might just call and harass you. So I'd suggest you limit it to the Facebook and the email. Let's get through some other issues, though. The biggest issue facing the government right now is that it spends $3.7 trillion a year at the federal level, only takes in about $2.4 trillion. They're $1.3 trillion short. How much do you think Congress could cut that spending?
Well, they need to cut it back to what we bring in.
Okay, then what would you cut to take $1.3 trillion out of the federal government?
Well, everything that I have ever run, every manufacturing company I've ever run and other businesses I've run, I've been able to go in and take a minimum of 10% out, within the first month. We've been able to look at that because there's a lot of what they call creep that happens in businesses where they just have a lot of must-haves and versus, like-to-haves versus must-haves.
Right.
So you need to go back, Fred, and drill that back.
Fred, we're burning daylight, though. I want to know, what would you cut? You got to give me some idea. Is it the military? Is it Medicare? Is it Medicaid? Is it what things? Because you got to pick some big ones, or you're not going to get to the $1.3 trillion.
Well, I'm not going to cut the military. That's what makes America what America is today. There's some things that we can do to straighten that up. A lot of what we're giving away in businesses today, like the solar and the wind industry, we need to take a look at that. I don't think it's the right time for that. We need to look at other. The EPA is hurting businesses a lot, so we need to run that backwards a little bit. Okay. We also need to look at some of the other agencies that we have there, like education, and what are they really doing?
Well, for example, should we get rid of the Department of Education at the federal level altogether?
Yes.
Okay. How about Department of Energy?
They don't have a plan, so what are they there for?
Well, they spend a lot of money, and the EPA.
Exactly right, but they've never had a plan since Carter put that in force when he was president.
That's right.
What's the purpose there?
I'm with you there. So we get rid of EPA. Do we get rid of all of EPA or just most of it?
No, you can keep 3 or 4 people there.
Yeah. Just keep an eye out for some really obvious cases of pollution.
Instead of environmental protection, there should be environmental partnership.
Yeah, you like Gingrich? That's Gingrich's idea.
Well, I don't know if it'll be called a partnership or not, but there's some things that we can learn from that. But there's some things that they need to learn from the manufacturing facilities. The businesses out there that have, for years, the wood products industry for years has been very progressive on emission control, but they don't understand it. I've worked with those people for years, and they'll come in, they don't understand what a cyclone is or a bag house. So we end up having to train them what they're looking at. So there's some things, there's some good things that they do, but then there's a bunch of stuff that they really don't do, and they really hurt businesses a lot. So we really need to, run that back. Let the states really control that, put that on a local level, and the federal government. There should be some there. There's some ideas they can capture to pass from one state to another. But the word is how it's being run today is ridiculous.
All right, but we're still about $1 trillion short of cutting down to. And so, how soon do you think you could get, if your ideas were put in place by the rest of the Congress, which you're going to be a freshman if you get in there, it might take a while. How soon do you think America could cut back its spending, federal government spending, by $1.3 trillion?
Well, we can cut it back as fast as we've grown it. So, what has Obama done since the Bush administration?
Quite a bit. But
yeah.
Bush did a lot too, and Bush added things that he probably shouldn't have added.
Yeah, Bush is wrong about that too. I'm not very happy about what he did. I'm not very happy with what's been going on for the last 30 years. That's why I'm running for office, because there's been this run to the cliff, and that's where we're headed today. And we need to really ratchet that thing back. We can't afford to put our children in the shackles of economic debt for the rest of their lives. That's absolutely wrong. We're supposed to leave it the next generation better than we got it. And what it is today, it's a mess.
I couldn't agree with you more.
Ratchet this thing back, Lars, and being in Congress, you get the opportunity to go look at the books. When I get a chance to go look at the books, there's a lot of things that I can see that we could cut back, but you need to get there in order to have access to that information.
Yeah. Hey, Fred, tell people your website again.
It's Fred Thompson, number 4 for Congress.com.
Very good. Good luck to you, and we'll have you back on before the election.
I appreciate your time, Lars.
Glad to do it. 15 before the hour. And by the way, I forget to make this